everyone, it's Michaela. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Today I'm doing a recap of my 2023 summer in Alaska. I did the same video last year after my 2022 summer. Now, if you are new here, I am a seasonal worker. However, I live in Juneau year-round, so I was a naturalist for Allen Marine Tours in their Juneau division, same as last year, and I got to do some pretty amazing things with them over the summer, and I also got to do some pretty fun things outside of work as well. Basically, I'm going to be going through my camera roll month by month all the way from May until September, and just recapping all of the fun moments that I had either at work or with my friends or with my boyfriend, and I'm going to be putting those pictures or videos up on the screen. So let's dive into May. So within the first few days of May, I had my first bear encounter. So this was a mom and her yearling cub, and that was really amazing. I went out the road to specifically photograph bears, and these were the first bears that I saw this season. I haven't seen many over the summer thinking about it. I saw a lot more last summer than I did this summer, but this cub was definitely a high note to start on. And then, believe it or not, a couple days later, on May 6th, I saw that same mom and yearling cub in the same area early in the morning. So I took some videos of this really cute yearling cub as well, just a couple days later. A week and a half of May was spent doing my field course for my degree. So it was a bunch of field techniques and field methods. So we went out and collected samples, but this class we set out a lot of traps. We were doing European green crab monitoring. So European green crab is an invasive species to the United States, and there are parts of Alaska, like I forgot the island name, but it's off the coast of Ketchikan, where this crab is present. So we were monitoring to see if it was present in Juneau. Luckily they have not found anything yet, so fingers crossed that it stays that way. And we would catch some really cool things in these traps, and we would just do a bunch of different field techniques. This class was required for my degree, but after that started the real summer where I didn't have any homework or any other responsibilities other than work. Like I said in the intro of this video, my job this summer was the same as last summer. I was a naturalist for Allen Marine. This summer was much different than last summer though, because I was with a senior captain this year. I love her to death. She is one of my good friends. She lives in Juneau year-round, so we hang out throughout the year as well. But since she's a senior captain, that means she does a little bit of everything. So we had a lot of Tracy Arm and a lot of Endicott Arm tours, which require you to be at work at 2 and 3 in the morning. So my schedule this summer was very, very different than last summer. We were still working upwards of 75 to 80 hours a week. My longest week I worked was 109 hours. 108, 109 hours, because I elected to have 0 days off that week. But that was the job I was doing, so I saw a lot of glaciers and a lot of our fjords this summer. And at the end of May, my boyfriend and I celebrated our 1-year anniversary. So we went up to the top of the Mount Roberts tram, and we had dinner up there, and the best brownies and ice cream I have ever had. So in case you guys didn't know, in May there is still snow on top of our mountains, and it doesn't fully melt away until like mid to end of July, if it is even low enough altitude that it will melt, and then it will reappear end of September. May 25th was my first day full-time over the summer, and of course we went to Endicott Arm. So this is Dawes Glacier. Dawes Glacier is so beautiful. It is a giant tidewater glacier that is like 300 feet high at the face, and it is just massive. I'm sure you guys can tell from the photos. If you guys are going on an Alaskan cruise and you had one excursion to pick, I would pick either the Tracy Arm or the Endicott Arm one. I have never had a passenger walk away disappointed. The end of May was when I had my first real killer whale sighting for the season. Prior to that, we saw one male that was hanging around Juneau for a little bit, but this was the first time I saw a really big pod. So we were on the way back from Tracy Arm to downtown Juneau, and we came across this pod, and it was really funny. They were making baby killer whales, so it was really funny to explain to the passengers what was happening. But that was super awesome, and we concluded the month of May with more trips to Tracy Arm and Endicott. I started June with a hike to East Glacier Trail. I told myself that I would do a hike every day off that I had this summer, and I definitely did not do that. But this was the first hike that I did. It was very rainy, very cloudy, but I got some really pretty views of the glacier, and I did this hike solo. It was really nice until I ran into a group of tourists that were on a hiking tour, and I ate shit in front of them. But we don't need to talk about that any further. The next day, June 2nd, I meandered my way to the glacier. I didn't have my camera on me and I was super mad, but this is exactly why I saw this, because I didn't have my camera on me. But I was walking the trail to see some salmon, if they have started running yet, and I ran into a mom with her 2 black bear cubs, and I was sitting there like crying tears of joy. I've lived in Juneau for almost 3 years, and that is the first time I have seen baby cubs like that small. I've seen yearlings and other like juveniles, but I've never seen like a fresh out of the den cub, and these guys were so cute. Moving on, I also hiked to Herbert Glacier with my coworker. This hike is so long. It's 5 miles in and 5 miles out for a total of 10 miles. And it's completely flat. Like, people bike it all the time, and it's just straight flat. It's really easy. It's more of a walk rather than a hike, but those 10 miles beat the shit out of you. I've hiked Herbert 2 separate times before this, and I never made it to the face of the glacier, so I was determined. No matter how sore my feet were, no matter how miserable I was making it to the face of that glacier. And my friend and I tried to bushwhack and like rock climb up to get to the actual face, but we did not have that happen. I'm really glad it didn't happen, because my friend climbed up, as you are seeing in these videos, and she told me to follow her, but as she was climbing up, she triggered a rock slide, so I'm really glad I did not follow her up there. And then on the way home, we saw a cute little black bear munching on some dandelions. In June, I also got to take my best friend Jessica to Tracy Arm. Jess, if you're watching this, hi, I love you. She's my biggest fan. She always gets on me for not uploading YouTube videos, so this is for you, Jess. But I got to take her to Tracy Arm. She has lived in Juneau longer than I have, and she has never been. So I was able to take her with me, and it was really fun. We both had a really great day. I think another highlight in June was I got a Seabourn jacket. Let me grab it. Here is my jacket. So if you guys don't know, Seabourn is like the bougiest cruise ship that you could possibly go on. It's like $10,000 a ticket, everything's included, and my goal this summer was to get a Seabourn jacket, and I asked passengers all the time, what would I need to do to get your jacket? And I asked this woman, and she was like, well, I live in Florida, like I don't need this jacket, I don't even own a hoodie. And at the end of our tour, she gave me it off of her husband's back. Quite literally unzipped it, took it off him and handed it to me. So my crew was very, very jealous. Being on an early morning Tracy and Endicott Arm crew, we got some beautiful sunrises throughout the whole summer. So this was June 18th at 3:52 in the morning, just to give you guys an idea of when it's light and when it's dark. And it was probably the highlight of having to wake up at the ass crack of dawn. Actually, before the ass crack of dawn, because this is dawn right here in that photo, and I was up before that. Another funny thing about doing these early morning trips is on the way home, half the time you don't have passengers. We call that a deadhead. And I would sleep, and my crew loved to stack plushies on me. So this is my captain stacking a bunch of plushies on me, and I didn't notice it until I woke up and got up. I woke up and originally just grabbed my phone from the seat and started scrolling on it. It wasn't until I got up while we're pulling in to go tie up the boat, and a bunch of stuff falls, and I'm like, what is that? And then it was all the plushies that she stacked on me. At the end of June, we had a group of bubble net feeding humpback whales show up in Juneau. They stayed for almost a month straight, which is very, very rare. Bubble netters typically come through Juneau for maybe a day or two and go on their merry way somewhere else. A month these guys stayed. Like, it got to the point towards the end of the month, I was like, oh my god, every tour is the same thing and I talk about the same exact thing because we see the bubble netters every damn trip. So that was amazing. So June 25th was the first day we saw them, I believe, and we saw them continuously for a month after that. Another big highlight at the end of June was we were on our way home. It was a deadhead, and there was a baby whale breaching and tail slapping, and my captain that I was with that day was my captain from last year, so he let us put life jackets on and go out on the bow, and I took some really cool pictures and some really cool videos, and it was just amazing. These were taken at 8:30 at night, again, just to give you guys a gauge of the light pattern and the light in Juneau during the summer. We are going into July now. July started off with a freaking bang, let me tell you. So to give you guys some backstory, one of the biggest Tracy groups is Carnival Cruise Line. So Carnival, the ship goes at the beginning of Tracy Arm and we meet up and we tie up to them. If you guys want a better representation of that, I definitely recommend looking up a vlog of it on YouTube just to get that point of view. And we load the passengers and we do the tour. And we meet them at the glacier. The ship goes all the way up to probably about 5 miles from the glacier. We drop those passengers off, grab a new group, and head back out. So we do an in and an out of that tour. Now, whenever we tie up to these cruise ships, there's a safety officer. And for the Carnival Luminosa, we got to know the safety officer because we did this like 3 or 4 weeks in a row with this same ship. And there was one day where with the Carnival cruise we have 2 boats, one on each side of the cruise ship, and this ship, when they're loading both boats, you can see straight through the ship, and me and my deckhand were like trying to go like this, like looking through the ship, and he said, you can come on if you want, like come take a look. And so we ran up for a couple seconds, looked around, and we were so excited. And he goes, have y'all never been on a cruise ship before? And we're like, no, I've tied up to a lot of them, but I've never been on a cruise ship. And he invited us as his guests when they ported in Juneau to come tour the Carnival Luminosa. And that's what we got to do. So we got to check out the bow, we got to check out the bridge. I ate my weight in cruise ship food. It was so awesome, and it was just the best thing ever. All the other crews at Allen Marine were jealous because we are the only crew that was invited to tour a cruise ship. But it was super cool. It's so amazing to see. It's literally like a floating city on the water. And I like seeing it outside, you can't really comprehend that, but once you go inside and see it, mind blown. The first week of July, my boyfriend and I got to go out to Taku Glacier Lodge. If you guys are ever in Juneau and have enough time to do this, 20 out of 10 recommend this. It was such an amazing tour. My boss, who is also my boyfriend's boss, got us out there and really made the day special for us. This was one of the only days off that me and my boyfriend had together off all summer, and we made it really special. And it was sunny that day, which made it even better. It was like sunny and like 80 degrees almost, and the mountains still had snow on them, so it was awesome. And we had a yummy lunch. I had the chicken because if you guys didn't know, I actually don't like salmon. I hate fish. I'll eat occasionally like sea bass, but that's about it. Like salmon, I can't stand it. But that's what this token was for. It says chicken entree please. So I handed them that and they laughed at me and handed me my chicken. It was Costco chicken, and that was the best Costco chicken dish I've ever had. And after we ate our lunch, we got to walk around the property and did a little walking trail, and there was a bear. His name was Hans, and he was licking the oil off of the grill from the salmon that we ate. and he just hung out. He hung out in the tree and we watched him for a good 40 minutes and then headed back to Juneau. People always ask me when's the best time and the best month to visit Juneau for a cruise, and the answer is, like, we don't know. Last year, 2022, June was our summer month and it was 80 and sunny the whole month. This year it was July and June was super gloomy, and last year July was super gloomy. But July, since it was so sunny and practically almost 90 most of the month, my best friends and I took advantage of that and decided to have a beach day. So we went out paddleboarding out to an island off of Sunshine Cove, and my best friend Jess and best friend Charlotte did join me, and it was really fun. This was honestly one of my favorite days over the summer. The water was so warm, and passengers would always ask me, "You guys don't go swimming in the ocean, do you?" And I would show them these videos and I'm like, "No, we definitely do." And it was really funny to watch all of their expressions and them freak out because our water is so cold at 60 degrees. But this was probably my favorite day of the whole summer. Another first for me this summer was I saw my first freaking moose. It wasn't in Anchorage, it wasn't in Seward or Palmer, it was in Southeast Alaska. So if you guys didn't know, we do not have a lot of moose here. You will not see a moose walking around Juneau. You gotta go like super high into the mountains. But right outside of Tracy Arm, there is a little chain of islands, and a passenger was like, "Yo, there's a moose over there." And we were like, "Really?" Because sometimes you guys think swell is a whale. So I don't know how much I believe you. And my captain picked up the binos, and sure friggin' enough, it was a friggin' moose. That was really cool. I didn't even see a moose when I went up to Anchorage for my road trip a couple weeks ago. July also brought another killer whale encounter. So last year we saw killer whales at least once a week. This year I think I saw them a total of maybe 6 times the whole summer. And that's just because being on a Tracy Arm crew, we did that 80% of the summer, and then the other 20% of our trips were whale watches. So we just weren't on the water as much. That means we didn't see as much cool stuff. But I took the best B-reel. I think this wins for the best B-reel in my opinion. But that was really awesome. It was a pod right outside of our harbor, and what was really cool about this was we were like one of the only boats on these killer whales, which made it super special. We are July 15th and still had these bubble netters. So I'm not kidding, guys. They stayed almost a month. July, I also did a one-night backpacking trip with my 2 best friends, Jess and Charlotte, and we backpacked up to Pittman's Ridge, which is on the top of Eagle Crest, which is where we go snowboarding. And it was really fun. It was definitely a lot of work. That was my first backpacking trip, and I did not know it was going to be that hard. But we had a really pretty sunset going up, and then we woke up to a totally different environment. It was super foggy on the way down, but it cleared out and ended up being a really fun trip. And then at the end of July, I had a really great bear encounter at the Amalga Harbor Weir. So this black bear was feeding on chum salmon, and he wasn't eating the whole salmon. He was like pushing the eggs out and eating the salmon roe. So that was really awesome to see. We're into August now, so I'm going skateboarding with Jess. That was really fun. That was one of the only days I actually felt like not tired enough to go skateboarding with my ripstick. But that was really fun, and we did it to Mendenhall Glacier. There are not many places in the United States where you can skateboard next to a glacier. I think this day was also one of my favorites. I got to do a tour with Coastal Helicopters, and we went to a dog sledding camp and went dog sledding, and then we also went and landed on Herbert Glacier. So one of the perks for working seasonally with Allen Marine is you get perks with other companies. So you can do comps with other companies and tours with other companies. So it was super fun. The dogs were so cute. I don't have a dog here, so I was like bathing in all the puppy cuddles. But after that, we landed on Herbert Glacier, and I collected water from there, and we just spent like 20-30 minutes exploring over there. So that was super cool as well. It's really awesome. I see these glaciers from our tours, and we only see them from like super far away on the water, so to actually be on it is super cool. I also vlogged all of these cool things such as the backpacking trip, the helicopter tour, and the beach day all on my TikTok. So if you guys want to see a little more in depth of my day-to-day life, go check out my TikTok. It is always linked below, or it's the same as my YouTube username. And then the next day is when I headed up to Anchorage and Palmer and I got my tattoo. I'm not going to go too far into details in those pictures because you guys saw those vlogs, but I saw Noah Kahn and I went to Seward and Kenai Fjords National Park. And I guess the last thing that I did, the really cool thing that I did this summer, was hiked West Glacier with Charlotte. So I have done West and East Glacier. So there's 2 trails to West Glacier. There's West Glacier to McGinnis Mountain, and there's West Glacier to the Lookout Peninsula. So the Lookout Peninsula used to be where the glacier came up to. However, since it has been receding, it has receded away from that peninsula, but you can actually hike pretty close to the face. The face is still barely accessible. You need to do some like mountaineering type shit. I'm not equipped to do that, so we did not do that, but we got pretty darn close to the face, which is really sad comparing to how it looked in the winter, and how it looks now is very depressing. So everyone that says that climate change isn't real and these glaciers aren't receding, okay, stop saying that. I'm serious though, but the amount of people who come on our glacier tours and I say, this glacier recedes about 300 feet a year, and they're like, these glaciers aren't receding. And I'm like, when my captain started doing this 10 years ago, it was a mile bigger than it is now. On that note, that is everything that I did during my 2023 Alaska summer. I am so grateful to live here and call Alaska my home. This is truly unlike any other state that I have ever lived in or visited. And if you get the chance to come work up here, definitely take it. I know applications for my job launch, I think, either end of November, early December, mid-November. I don't know. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below if you are not already subscribed, so we can grow this happy little corner of the internet that we are all a part of here on my channel. I'm trying to get 4,000 subscribers before the year ends. So if we can do that, there might be a giveaway with some cool Alaskan goodies in your guys' future. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!